Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I want to talk about that game yesterday. And I want to talk about myself for a little while too. I know, well, a few of you saw my halftime in Hell short yesterday, where I'd hit the sorrow bottle at halftime, which is something that I'd never, ever, ever, ever do, but did yesterday. I guess the, 58 total yards generated by the offense in the first half was enough to drive you to drink, smoke, and cuss. And the only thing that I didn't do was smoke because I couldn't find my smokes at the time. 58, correct me if I'm wrong, total yards in the first half. But Jake Hayner is our savior. He's so much better than Spencer Rattler. Okay. And then, shortly before halftime, I was on a podcast. Big Q, who was simulcasting the game and calling, oh, oh, Hayner ain't doing nothing. Put Rattler in. Hayner ain't doing nothing. Put Rattler in. And it kind of makes me sick because a lot of these were some of the same people who were talking about how much better Hayner is than Rattler. hmm So, way I felt about it, I said, oh, hell no. Leave Rattler on the bench. Like the old folks used to say, dance with the girl that brung you. Dance with the one you chose. Ask a bum. So, after halftime, Rattler gets the call. I said, okay. In one series, Rattler engineered the offense to more yards than Hayner did in the entire first half. Ask a bum, tell me now how much better Hayner was than Rattler yesterday. I don't know why some Saints fans hate him or denigrate him or drag him the way that they do. Yes, I know he had his troubles in college. He's traveled, because what was it, Oklahoma or one school, he got ousted by Caleb Williams. And at the other school, he was backing up, Jalen Hurts. And if you'll remember, they did have some words, some kind words together during the Philly game, the third game of the season, the first loss of the season by the Saints. But when Rattler came in, it seems like the entire complexion of the team changed. Now, mind you, Rattler came in playing with the same offensive line that Hayner had, with the same receivers that Hayner had. But for some reason, Rattler was able to engineer the offense into the position to put up points where Hayner couldn't. Or Hayner didn't. I ain't going to say couldn't. I will say he didn't. Defense played well. Defense played well. And they played well until the end. I mean, if you can hold a team to 20 points, that's pretty good. That's damn good. But the only thing about that is that they were 1 point better than us. Here's what pisses me off. During preseason, we got to watch both Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner run this offense, or run a variation, a vanilla variation of this offense. And it was absolutely, positively crystal clear that Spencer Rattler had won the QB2 spot. But the weasel, Dennis Allen, made the decision that Hayner was going to be QB2, even though he didn't earn it. And here's the reason why. If, after 11 years in the league, a quarterback hasn't progressed, he never will. Usually, you see progression definitely at the peak of his powers around year 6 or year 7. Derek Carr has one playoff appearance, one in his 11 seasons. I think he's had one 4,000-yard season. One. And that was with John Gruden in Oakland before the big scandal erupted that toppled him from the head coaching job in Oakland. And now that I think about it, yes, they've ousted Dan Snyder, but oh my goodness, I would love to hear some of those emails, voicemails, and other things that he has, and just see how rotten the NFL truly is. But I digress. I believe that had the Saints started Rattler, we might have won that game. Because Washington was making mistakes left and right. I will say that those two roughing the passer calls that the referees did call on Washington were bogus. Bogus, bogus. But they had 89 yards worth of penalties. You know, you get 100 yards worth of penalties, that's a touchdown. Pretty much. They had 89 yards in penalties. The Saints, 40-some yards, which is much better than the Saints had been doing, especially last year, especially earlier in this year. But Spencer Rattler went out there and did his thing. The thing about a quarterback competition, if you really want to know the truth about it, why Hayner was put in the number 2 spot after he didn't earn it, and he knew he didn't earn it, and yesterday he played like he didn't earn it. That was done to put somebody between Spencer Rattler and Derek Carr. Rattler has upside. We've already seen flashes of what he can do. And with proper development, which we don't have somebody on the Saints staff who knows how to develop a quarterback, he could be something in this league. But everything in me tells me that it won't be with the Saints. Spencer Rattler, like Rizzy said yesterday, he is a gamer. He is a never say die, never quit, works hard, studies hard, and he was prepared, more prepared to come in and back up Jake Hayner than Hayner was prepared to start. Or maybe it's just that Hayner doesn't have the talent level of a Spencer Rattler. Because from what I've seen, when he has time, and even sometimes when he hasn't had time, he has quicker recognition and release. He can go through his progressions that fast and get rid of that ball while Jake Hayner is. That's what he looked like out there yesterday. Scared. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And at the press conference after the game, did you hear him? Did you hear what he said? About talking about how the hate is gonna rain down on him and how snippy he was at the end. Jake, baby, it ain't hate to say that you played like rotten slaw because you did. You did play like rotten slaw. And if you don't know it, and if they don't tell you you did, guess what? Us fans will. We don't bite our tongue, baby. So it's going to be Green Bay next week. Next Monday, rather. Up there in the frozen tundra. Now, there are a lot of people saying, oh no, Derek Carr's not going to play. But with Spencer Rattler breathing down his neck, and with the fans favoring him over Hayner and maybe even over Carr, I'd be willing to bet my left big toe, just cut it right on off, that Carr starts. But then, too, I've heard something. I think this morning from Bobby Abear that Carr is terrible in cold weather. Now, we know the Saints historically have been horrible in cold weather. They did, however, win a playoff game in Philadelphia once, and it was crackling cold up there. But we had Drew Brees back then. We ain't got nobody that's a shadow of him now. Excuse me, I hit my cup on the microphone. What the Saints need to do is go ahead and play Rattler because it's obvious his upside is a hell of a lot higher than a Jake Hayner. And the quarterback competition next season for QB2 it'll be between Hayner and somebody else because if I know the Saints, and I know them quite well, even though Dennis Allen is no longer there and no longer there to protect Carr, Mickey Loomis is still there. And they invested $150 million in this dud. So what they'll do is get rid of anybody that could be a threat to his starting position. I don't expect Rattler to be on the team very long. I expect him to get cut just because they want to protect Derek Carr's feelings and his little position that, in my estimation, he is holding on to tenuously because Rattler's coming. He's coming. And he knows that he's coming unless he goes to another team. And I bet my right big toe that he'd get cut. If there's a quarterback competition on this team, it's not between Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner. It's between Spencer Rattler and Derek Carr. Granted, Rattler doesn't have a great deal of experience, but he needs to get some. And the only way he's going to get any is to play. And he's a smart enough young man to know that if he doesn't get the chance to play here, go somewhere else. He's done it before. And I'm sure there are those in the NFL who would welcome a raw talent such as his with open arms. But the Saints can't. They can't. Because it looked like they made the wrong choice to pay Derek Carr $150 million to come here. Yes, Spencer Rattler has great upside. And yes, his stock rose exponentially with that performance yesterday. But don't expect Rattler to remain on this team just because of that. That's all I got to say for now, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please, please hit the like button. I mean, if you do, I might strip tease for you. Anyway. Oh, have a wonderful day, people. Who dat?